Picture this, you're hiking in the middle of nowhere. Your phone shows zero signal bars, no 4G, no 5G, but you can still call for help and send messages. Sounds like science fiction, right? Samsung's upcoming Galaxy S26 series is about to make that feel real. The Samsung Galaxy S26, Galaxy S26 Plus, and Galaxy S26 Ultra have just passed through FCC certification, and those documents reveal something huge: native satellite communication support. On top of that, we're looking at major storage upgrades, a new privacy-focused display technology, a big display improvement for the Ultra, and even a camera button that almost made it into the final design. This might be the most ambitious Galaxy S lineup Samsung has ever launched, so let's break down everything you need to know about the Galaxy S26 series. First, the headline feature: satellite communication is finally coming to Samsung phones. According to the FCC filings for the US variants of all three Galaxy S26 models, these devices will support supplemental coverage from space, also known as SCS, and work with non-terrestrial networks. In simple terms, this is the technical foundation that allows a regular smartphone to talk directly to satellites. What does that mean for you? Imagine you're in a remote rural area at sea or deep in the mountains with absolutely no cell towers in range. Normally, your phone would be a dead slab of glass for calls and texts. With the Galaxy S26 series, your phone could connect directly to satellites overhead instead, letting you send and receive messages even when you're completely outside traditional network coverage. This is made possible through a partnership with Skylo, one of the leading providers enabling satellite connectivity for standard smartphones using existing satellite infrastructure. Now, there is a catch. At launch, this satellite feature will almost certainly be limited to select countries and regions, most likely starting with the United States and rolling out slowly. But even with that limitation, it's a huge leap forward for smartphone connectivity and safety. Think about the emergency use case alone. Car breaks down in a dead zone, you're lost on a trail, or a natural disaster takes down the local network. Your Galaxy S26 could still reach the outside world. That's a game changer. Next up, storage. Samsung is finally fixing something that's been annoying users for years. Historically, the base Galaxy S model has stubbornly started at 128 GB of storage, while the Plus and Ultra versions got 256 GB and up. In 2026, that's just not enough for most people. Apps are bigger, 4K and 8K video files are massive, and modern cameras chew through storage in no time. Recent reports now say the Galaxy S26 base model will ditch the 128 GB starting point and jump to higher base storage, putting it in line with the S26 Plus and S26 Ultra. That's a big deal for real-world usability. It's not just about space either. Samsung has often used slower storage chips on 128 GB variants. By moving the entire Galaxy S26 lineup to larger base capacities, Samsung is likely standardizing on faster storage across the board, which should give you snappier app loading, quicker file transfers, and smoother overall performance. Now let's talk about something more controversial: Samsung's new privacy display technology. Samsung has already confirmed a new display feature they're calling a new layer of privacy. Internally, it's known as Flex Magic Pixel, effectively a built-in privacy filter at the panel level. This technology makes it much harder for people sitting next to you to see what's on your screen because the viewing angles for sensitive content are reduced. From straight on, you see everything clearly. From the side, the display looks dim or unreadable. On paper, that sounds fantastic. You get privacy protection for banking apps, messages, emails, and work documents without needing a third-party screen protector. Here's the problem: early leaks suggest this Flex Magic Pixel privacy display might be exclusive to the Galaxy S26 Ultra. And that raises a real concern. Samsung has spent years branding itself around security and privacy: Knox security, industry-leading update policies, secure enclaves, post-quantum cryptography, and constantly says privacy is a fundamental right, not a premium upsell. If they lock this privacy display tech behind the most expensive S26 Ultra, they're effectively putting a price tag on privacy. It's one thing to give the Ultra better cameras or faster charging, but security and privacy features are different. Those should be available to everyone, not just buyers of the top-tier flagship. Even Samsung's own messaging has been, there is no privacy without strong security, so limiting a security-adjacent feature to one model feels like a contradiction. Hopefully, Samsung expands Flex Magic Pixel to all Galaxy S26 models, or at least to more devices in the lineup over time. While we're on displays, there's more good news for the Galaxy S26 Ultra. Reliable Teepster Ice Universe reports that the Galaxy S26 Ultra will finally adopt a true 10-bit display panel, up from the 8-bit panel used in the Galaxy S25 Ultra. The difference here is massive in terms of color reproduction. An 8-bit panel can display around 16.7 million colors. A 10-bit panel can render over 1 billion colors. That means richer, more accurate color, smoother gradients with fewer banding artifacts, much better HDR performance for streaming, gaming, and content creation. On top of that, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is rumored to feature a 6.89-inch M14 OLED panel with higher brightness, improved efficiency, and tougher protective glass. Combined with 10-bit color depth, the S26 Ultra screen could easily be one of the best smartphone displays on the market when it launches. Now let's get into a feature that almost happened: a dedicated camera button. A former employee from one of Samsung's supply partners mentioned on LinkedIn that they worked on a new camera button with swipe gesture functionality for the Galaxy S26 series. Think of it as Samsung's answer to Apple's dedicated camera control button on the iPhone 16 series. The idea was to have a dedicated capacitive-style camera button on the frame of the phone. It would support taps and swipes to control things like shutter, zoom, and camera modes with haptic feedback built in. For people who shoot a lot of photos and video, that kind of hardware control would be incredibly useful, faster, more precise, and more intuitive than poking at on-screen buttons. But here's the twist: none of the current Galaxy S26 leaks, renders, or dummy units show an extra camera button. None of the top leakers have mentioned it in their final design information either. That strongly suggests Samsung experimented with the idea but pulled it before finalizing the hardware. Maybe it complicated the design, maybe it added too much cost, or maybe Samsung decided to save it for the Galaxy S27 series. This kind of thing is actually very common in smartphone development. Features get prototyped and even partially engineered, only to be shelved at the last minute. The bigger takeaway is that Samsung is clearly watching what competitors like Apple, Sony, and others are doing with dedicated camera controls. Given the direction the market is heading, a camera button on a future Galaxy S flagship still feels very likely. Now let's talk raw power and connectivity, because the Galaxy S26 lineup is not holding back there either. All three Galaxy S26 models, the Galaxy S26, S26 Plus, and S26 Ultra, are expected to be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip, nomming subject to final branding. This next-generation Qualcomm SoC should bring major improvements in CPU and GPU performance, AI processing, and energy efficiency. As for network support, the S26 series checks every box: 2G, 3G, 4G LTE, 5G with both sub-6 GHz and millimeter wave bands, Wi-Fi 7 for ultra-fast, low-latency wireless connections, Bluetooth LE for modern, low-power accessories, NFC for mobile payments and quick pairing, ultra-wideband UWB for precise spatial tracking and device finding, wireless charging with likely improvements in speed and efficiency. Combine that with the new satellite connectivity, and the Galaxy S26 series starts to look like one of the most connected smartphone families ever released. So when can you actually buy these phones? Samsung is expected to officially announce the Galaxy S26, S26 Plus, and S26 Ultra in the last week of February 2026. Pre-orders should open in select markets on the same day as the Unpacked event, with general availability reportedly targeted for the second week of March 2026.